Okay, so this video, I will focus solely on gold, silver, and the miners. So very, very specific. Obviously, I've made smaller videos recently. I think it's a better format, and I think I would prefer that if I was watching videos. So this is the main event, let's say. Gold obviously has had a very, very important couple of, I think, what is it, 2 weeks? Last couple of trading days, ever since we bounced basically off 1810, which, I mean, look at that, totally makes sense, right? It was the low down there, so that was a horizontal point. Plus we had 1800 just below, which is a psychological number, so made sense to bounce. Plus we had 1, 2, 3, 4 days where we were just finding support, and then bam, that one massive candle, and the rest is history. But to be honest, I did not foresee this move. I mean, I thought we could even get to 1880 and maybe pierce through 1900, because by then the Israeli conflict had made headlines. But this I did not anticipate. I think it's overextended. So I'll start by saying that I think this is overextended. I think we deserve to be all the way at 2100 plus because of all the fundamental macroeconomic, technical, even geopolitical, just all the reasons we all know. So obviously this belongs all the way up. But look at this. Look how steep this is. We've seen this in a lot of areas. We've seen it in oil, uranium recently, for example, and things just come down. So, and I think technically 1880s, sorry, yeah, well, 1980, 85, actually, 1985. I used to say 1980, but it's actually 1985. It's the same thing. That is very, very strong resistance. Okay, you're not really allowed to just go like, already this is breaking the rules. If anything's going to do it, it's a geopolitical event, but you're not allowed to keep going. So for me, we're going to come down. Now, gold closed far off its highs. That's point number one about the weakness. Point number two is how parabolic we've had a move. So we need to come down. Point number three is that the DXY has not exactly been strong, and gold found a bit of weakness. So and point number four, I'm not really preparing these points, but we've had time to digest the geopolitical event, and there is the likelihood, obviously, that regional war takes place. That things get worse, but this might be priced in. There's also a chance that peace prevails. The Biden visit maybe calmed Netanyahu down a little bit. Ground invasion not as obvious. So, with all that said, I think gold should come back down again. And by the way, point number five, the miners are not buying it. Silver is not exactly buying it as much as gold. So I think we're going to come down. I say all that to say that, we're going to come back down. I think we're going to go to 1950. Who knows? Once you start to go lower, there could be a bit of people, tripping over themselves, people who just bought at the top, or shorts that start to get really, enthusiastic. There could be a little enthusiasm here on the way down. So maybe we actually go lower than 1950. If we go lower than 1950, where do we go? Well, we could retest this descending. So let me just draw this in to make it more obvious. We could have a move here and go back up, and I think it would be that quick. And that would be extremely healthy, extremely bullish. I would say more bullish than just a move higher, because you're waiting for the cascade down. So I think this is a healthy, bullish pattern. Scenario two is that we go lower, obviously, and we could retest this area, and then we'll see maybe something like this. Obviously, it wouldn't take this long. Otherwise, scenario three is just an absolute puke. There's peace, and rates keep rising, and all of a sudden investors change their minds. Oh no, wait a minute. Rates going up does mean gold down, as it did for a while, right? But have you noticed how rates going up did not phase gold recently? So that's maybe a change in sentiment. So overall, extremely bullish. Lovely to see it. Obviously, it'd be much better if the miners and silver bought into it too, but I do think a pullback is needed. Scenario two, rather than going down, is that we go up. Now, what you would really need is a close above 1985, preferably even higher, to really, preferably above this high now that we've done it, which basically is 2000. But for me, if we cross 2000, go straight to 2020. I've said that very often. So a close above 2000, especially 2020, would be just, for me, just, well, extremely bullish. I mean, just as much as this has been bullish so far. It's just hard for me to imagine, especially with this tail here, that we keep going. But I think only geopolitics can do that. But who knows? The markets, look at my other videos, the markets And I've said I thought they'd go lower, and now they're looking really like they're ready to puke even more. They could have a bounce because they went down quite a lot last 2 days, but what if the market start to puke? What does gold do there? Does gold also like that and go up? We've seen that too. So I mean, overall, gold is super bullish, long term, medium term, short term. I don't know, but I'm not going to be cute and start selling miners and doing all that because I don't think they've gone up enough. Let's look at silver though, because I mean, gold is really the main event, and also when you've got a geopolitical event, everyone wants the gold, not as much silver. Silver had to do a bit of catching up. It was underperforming gold, I would say. Finally, we had that the last, I don't know, 2 days. The last day, Friday, we saw that. You can see it didn't close as low as gold did, off its high. I mean, slightly more bullish, respectively, but still, you can tell that 2000 or let's say 1985 pricing gold equals this 23.7 23.7 level in silver. So we would need a close about 23.7, especially this little tail here. You see that? What is that? 23.77. Let's say 23.8. A close above 23.8. Basically going all the way up here. But how are you going to get silver to 23.8? You probably need gold to start rallying, above 1985 and basically in the 1990s. But if we start to cross 2000 in gold, which would be a milestone, then it's a big ask. But 2020 in gold, I think you could start getting silver all the way up to 25. It's a huge percentage move, but I think silver's got a lot of catching up to do. And that's when people think, okay, no, this is serious. 2000 is a big level, psychological. A lot of systems will start buying, all these high frequency crazy machines will start doing their thing. So, and if they don't, who cares? This is a buy, silver is a buy, respective to gold. But even more so the miners. We'll take a look at the miners literally in a second. Now, if we start to go down, because I do think we're going to go down in gold, question is, what happens to silver? Does silver now outperform gold on the way down? I think it will. Just as gold outperformed on the way up, those people who bought gold for the trade, the quick trade, the geopolitical trade, they will be selling gold. They're not going to sell silver. They don't own silver. They're not going to short silver as a hedge to their long gold. So I actually think that, and that would be nice. I think gold goes down 1950 and silver, well, it just goes down a little bit, 23, 22.8, maybe this ascending comes back into play, maybe. I don't know if this ascending is relevant anymore. We've reclaimed it, but because of a crazy geopolitical event, and it's not obvious. So I want to see a retest. Do we care about this ascending? If we don't, if it just goes back down, and I think 22, this horizontal essentially, roughly, right? It's not obvious anymore. But 22.5-ish or just below 22.3. If we start to settle there, then I'll think, okay, this is relevant, and just get rid of this, and it'll make the chart will be a lot clearer. So I'm not sure where silver will go, but I do think it will not go down as much as gold. And to be honest, as I said during this move down, I prefer to look at gold to judge where silver is going to go. And I think that worked quite well. So just watch gold. Just watch gold is my answer to the silver chart. Now, for the miners, and I do intend to do my portfolio update right after this. Yeah, this is a very bullish annotation I've got here. Well, the question is, I do still think gold's going to go down a little bit, 1950. So what happens to GDX? Where does GDX settle? And yeah, I think actually something like this, I think we go a little lower. Maybe we retest this descending. Otherwise, where does it go? It's not very obvious. Maybe 28 round number, but it's not a clear level. It doesn't really matter. Again, I'd probably look at gold more than anything. But look at this candle here. It's really not the best candle at all. I mean, it makes sense because the market's closed at low of day, and it's not like we cared too much about the markets. Thankfully, we've definitely outperformed the markets. It's worth making that comment. But with the markets closing at low of day and gold giving up a lot of its gains, I can understand why gold closed as it did. Although, sorry, the miners closed where it did. Although it wasn't really the worst close. I mean, in terms of percentage, it was pretty much unchanged. But still, that suggests we're going to go lower. I still think gold will go to 1950, which to me means the miners will go lower Monday, Tuesday. Let's see how far it goes. I will judge it on gold. By the way, the markets, watch that video because I think the markets will, I don't know, maybe a bounce, but they're just going to flush, and then the banks will flush, and we could have a real panic going on. And last time that happened, the miners and the metals loved it. So I do think we'll retrace a little bit. and basically retest and then break out. Now, I don't know if it'll be this it won't be this parabolic, but it could start getting like that. Because what if gold starts going to 2020, 2050, 2080, new all-time historic highs? And by the way, it's already done it in all the other currencies. What about silver? If silver has a 5% day, the miners can have a 8, 9, 10% day. And then you are looking at moves like this. So I do think this will happen. I think we'll retrace and we'll keep going higher. And GDXJ will be the same sort of thing. So this one you can see did not break out of its descending, but that's not too relevant because if gold's going to do what I think it will do, which is a small retracement and a massive pot, the miners will just be forced to follow, especially if silver does its thing. Silver has a big impact on GDXJ actually. So let's see here. I think GDXJ is a bit easier to call. 34 is probably a level that it will visit on a retrace to 1950 from gold, and then let's see what happens. So that's my take. I hope it was clear. Let me know what you think. And by the way, if gold starts to go lower than 1950, maybe you're wondering, we'll see. The levels I've placed here, I've had them in a long time. I may have to readjust some, but I'm basically watching gold when judging the miners. Yeah, because everyone's run to gold for the last 2 weeks with what's happened. These people who rarely trade precious metals, they run to gold, they don't run to silver, they don't run to the miners. So there's been a bit of a disproportional move in gold. So for the same reason, I'll look at gold to judge everything. But very ultra short term bearish, but short, medium, long term extremely bullish. And thankfully, it's probably one of the only sectors that's going up, other than maybe oil. So it's good to watch the markets collapse and our stuff go up. And then in the future, we can sell our stuff and buy all the big blue chips that everyone loves super cheap. So that's the plan, isn't it? Anyway, good luck and enjoy your Sunday.